Hello, I'm Richard Craill and welcome to round 7 of the Sasol GTC Championship, coming to you from our first ever visit to the hugely exciting Festival of Motoring here at the iconic Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. This weekend is the second time GTC has raced at Kyalami this year. It's impossible to forget the first. Let's go down to Philippa, who's in the paddock chatting to some of the stars.
Mike, considering that we're round 7, that massive crash that we had earlier in the year seems like a lifetime ago, but actually set you back quite a bit at the beginning of the season, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a big setback. Didn't finish race 2, and both Simon and Gennaro finished first and second. So I was down on points after round 1, but last year we were in the same situation, and we've shown our depth, and we fight back, and we come to round 7 leading the championship. So it hasn't been a bad season, a rough start, but we've picked up the pieces and carried on.
I try not to think about it. Thanks for reminding me. No, well, brakes was an issue there. We all know that. So I had a bit of brake problem at Zwartkops, but that was not going to phase me. So hopefully the first time I brake at Kyalami, or when we go down and practice, the brakes is there, then it will be fine. So just keep an eye on it and just now and then occasionally feel it, SOS it, but I know it was not going to phase me too much. Just go for it.
Michael Van Ruin, before we talk about Kyalami this weekend, we are going to talk about Turn 5 at Zwartkops. You had so much pace. It was great to see the battle though between yourself and your Hun, but it just didn't go your way.
I don't remember anything, and I don't want to talk about Zwartkops. Yeah, look, it was a unfortunate qualifying for us, but the rest of the weekend went absolutely brilliantly. Everything went well in race 1 fairly, and race 2 as well, until that unfortunate incident in Turn 5. Look, it was probably, I should have been a bit more patient, but I saw an opportunity, tried to take it, and Johan just pushed me a little bit off the racing line, and I lost the control of the car and buried it in the sand.
It must be encouraging though, because the whole paddock is actually just can't wait until you get your first race win.
Yes, definitely. Well, me neither. No one is excited as me. So we're going to push hard again at Kyalami, and I think we're coming off a good weekend at Zwartkops, so we're confident, and we're going to make the best of it.
Devon Robertson, 6 rounds in 2018. Who would have thought that the competition would be so close, and especially between yourself and Brad?
Yeah, the championship has been close the whole season. We've got Keagan that's leading, Brad and myself tie on points. As you say, we didn't think it would be so close. It's just now a matter of finishing and getting as many points as we can for the championship.
And what are you looking forward to the most about this weekend being here at the Festival of Motoring?
Well, it's a huge crowd that's been drawn here. They're expecting 65, 70,000 people. I mean, that's a huge amount of people coming to a race. So just give them good racing, and hopefully we can take as many points from them.
It's time to check out qualifying, and as always, it was hugely competitive in both classes. With new Shield Racing backing, Charles Smallberger qualified 3rd for the second time this year, while the factory Volkswagens of Adrian Wood and Keagan Masters locked out the front row. The biggest story, however, was around the dramas for Signature Motorsport's 2 contenders. Both cars set to start at the back of the field with technical issues. Philippa's in the pits, finding out more.
Well, Richie, we're down here at Signature Motorsport. I'm with the team manager, Ronnie Erasmus. What a disastrous qualifying session for you two.
Yeah, we're quite disappointing. We had 2 little gremlins that crept in on both cars. Bradley lost throttle going down the mine shaft, and the lap after that, Devon the car went into limp mode, and we suspect it's a wheel speed sensor. So the team is currently busy working hard to try and solve the issues, and I'm sure we'll be ready for the first race.
These cars are quite technical. I suppose it's a good thing that here at the Festival of Motoring you also have manufacturer support as well.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. One of the technical guys from Mini is here. He's assisting us as well now, so I'm sure we'll sort it out very quickly with the help of the guys from Mini.
Hope to see you on the grid.
Thank you very much.
In Sasol GTC, it was a game of tenths again. Gennaro Bonafede qualified 3rd and missed the front row by 2 tenths, while Daniel Rowe banked his best ever quali performance with 2nd on the grid. No one could stop Michael Stephen though, who took his 3rd straight pole and 4th for season 2018.
Michael Stephen, you had some technical issues in practice yesterday and your boys were working really late last night, but glad to see that you've managed to get on top of that to get pole position today.
Yeah, a fantastic job by the team. We had a gearbox issue in the final practice session and never really got to show our pace, which was maybe a good thing. And they worked till midnight last night to getting the car ready for an early start this morning, and they did a fantastic job. The car was great and put on pole again.
There's only 6 races left in this championship season. You can't afford to have any more of those small issues creep up.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. They've all been happening in practice and just before qualifying. So, but they've been small gremlins. In motorsport, they always come along. In a race, you'd sort of manage the problem. But for qualifying, you need that ultimate lap, and the guys managed to give me a car to do that.
Well, after the efforts of your crew, I think you might have to share that prize money with them. Well done on 5,000 Rand. Thanks to Dunlop.
Yeah, thanks, Dunlop. The prize money that we get is actually shared amongst the team, so the effort they put in gets rewarded. So I'm glad for that.
Well, in the famous words of Keagan Masters, you must be super chuffed to get another pole position, Keagan. Well done.
I know. Look, the team's worked extremely hard, and yeah, this is the all credit goes to them. So yeah, I'm super chuffed. But yeah, it all comes down. The race is what counts. So we'll see what happens then.
Your main rivals are starting from the back. It's been a disappointing weekend for the Signature Motorsport guys, but you know how hungry they are. They're not going to be too far from your rearview mirror.
Yeah, well, this track's got a very long straight, so I won't be surprised to see them mirror into turn one. But yeah, we'll see how they go, see how the race pace is, and just manage it from there.
All right, well done on getting pole position here at the Festival of Motoring, and you get 1,000 Rand. Thanks to Dunlop as well.
Yeah, thank you, Dunlop.
There's a good-looking group of people. That's the Sasol GTC class of 2018. And here at the Festival of Motoring, they've been out meeting some of the 60,000 people anticipated across the 3 days of this event. Signing autographs, the fans able to get up close and personal, both with the fun in the air and on the racetrack. It's an important weekend. The championship is coming to a climax and there's still so much to play for. Let's get down and amongst it. Here's Philippa. She's chatting with Daniel Rowe.
Lots of excitement down here in pit lane. You must be absolutely thrilled, Daniel, to get second place in qualifying.
Yeah, for sure. They interviewed me yesterday and I said to them that Volkswagen belong on top. So, we almost had pole position. It was really close. I made 2 minor errors. I don't know if that would have given me pole, but certainly would have given us a chance. But I'm thrilled to be second. It's our best qualifying this year. First round, Kyalami, we had good race pace then already, but we struggled in qualifying at that time. But we've had 3 race wins since then, and almost a 4th at the last round. So yeah, we hooked it up, and here we are.
It's great to see Volkswagen on the front row. Good luck against Michael at turn 1.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. This is where it happens. 4.5 kilometres, 13 turns, an average lap speed of 151 kilometres an hour. It's the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. It's home to some of the most famous corner names in the sport. We look forward to that incredible run downhill through the kink and to Crowthorne Corner at turn 2, where Sasol GTC cars are often 5 wide at the start of a race. So here's the grid, race 1 at the Festival of Motoring. Michael Stephen on pole, his 4th of the season. Personal best effort for Daniel Rowe, who'll start alongside him on the front row of the grid. Gennaro Bonafede is next. Simon Moss 4th. It's only the 2nd time he's missed out on the front row this season. Johan Ferrari, and then the rest of the field sorts themselves out behind it. The GTC 2 battle should be particularly competitive as well, and Trevor Bland will feel like he's within a shot this weekend after a good quality performance. Keagan Masters on pole by half a second. Adrian Wood on the front row for the 2nd straight round. Charles Smallberger and Trevor Bland next. And the Minis, well, they're going from the back. So a 7th straight pole for Keagan Masters in GTC 2. He has been dominant over 1 lap, and that's why he currently leads the championship. The 2 Mini drivers tied on points for 2nd and 3rd coming into the weekend. And what about Daniel Rowe? It's been the reverse grid races where he's been doing all the action this season. What about a race 1 result in a weekend for the Volkswagen driver from Port Elizabeth? We're at the Festival of Motoring. It's a beautiful day at Kyalami. Away we go. We're racing, and it's Michael Stephen from pole. The field will spread themselves out as they go through the kink and down towards Crowthorne Corner. Johan Free looking down the inside of Simon Moss, who hasn't made a good start. Rose on the outside. Bonafede aggressive down the inside. Had to make ground early from the 2nd row of the grid. That's exactly what he's done, and locks in behind his old rival Michael Stephen as they head up the hill into barbecue. Moss looking up the inside of Daniel Rowe. He's held on to 4th place. They sort themselves out and head towards sunset. Bonafede on cold Dunlop tyres, looking really racy early on. Ferrari just showing the nose down the inside of Moss, but couldn't get a move done. Down the hill to Clubhouse they go. Already, Michael Stephen feeling like he has to defend. The car does not have good cold tyre pace. Look at him moving across to driver's left, covering his racing line from Gennaro Bonafede. Matt Hodges in there behind Michael Van Rooyen. Hodges with a big slide. That'll open him up to attack from Robbie Walk, the second of the Sasol BMWs. Bonafede reaving left and right, trying to squeeze his way through. And Moss trying to go the long way round at turn 9. Couldn't get it done on Daniel Rowe. Feisty opening half a lap or two here at the Festival of Motoring. Second visit for Sasol GTC this year. Stephen Wide through the sweeper at the mine shaft. And he has just got no cold tyre pace at the moment. Bonafede has him covered. There's the battle between the two Volkswagens. Adrian Wood in second place. Down the inside goes Devon Robinson. He's in car 20. Up the inside of Trevor Bland. Stephen defends again into the final corner. Bonafede's going to get really good drive out of here. Better corner exit by taking the wider line in. The Sasol BMW will be in front by the time they get to the line. Bonafede passes Stephen, gets to the race lead. Simon Moss is defending from Daniel Rowe. He wants to grab third place back. Can't do it down at turn 2. Van Rooyen looking racy. He's just in behind the Volkswagen. Matt Hodges staying in close company. So this leading group of Sasol GTC cars locked together at the end of 4.5 Ks. They start their second of 8 laps past the national pits, the old pits at Kyalami, and then down into this great fast right-hand corner at turn 5. It's called Sunset. And Bonafede already with 2 car lengths over the championship leader. Get the feeling this is a critical round for Bonafede. He pegged the margin with a victory last time out. Just needs to keep applying that pressure to the double champion. Here's Devon Robinson. So we saw the start of that move set up about half a lap ago. That was the completion of the pass on the universal car of Trevor Bland. Bradley Liebenberg, we talked about the pits just before. He's heading there. Car number 12, I mentioned he was in a tie, a deadlock with his teammate. Equal on points in second in GTC 2. Looks like his race is going no further. This leading group has got no less feisty. We're on board with Daniel Rowe. Just the slightest of lifts through the mine shaft. Caught up in the dirty air from the rear of Simon Moss's N-Gen Terry Moss Racing Audi. A little bit of understeer, just feathered the throttle going through that absolutely flat out left-hand kink to stop some understeer, but he remains in close contention. And isn't it great to see both the Volkswagens at the front of the field? They had such a terrible year last year where they went winless. They've turned things around this year. And Daniel Rowe's been winning almost as often as Michael Stephen. Here's Moss on his teammate. Great drive through the kink. He's on the wrong side of the road for the braking zone at Crowthorne Corner, but he might be far enough in front, but he torches the inside Dunlop. The unloaded side of the car, he locked the brake. You could hear the tyre howl in protest as he tried to get it stopped. Not only did he not get the position, but he might lose one to Daniel Rowe here, who's looking very feisty. Keagan Masters leading his teammate Adrian Wood. They're 1 and 2. Adrian Wood yet to grab a victory yet in GTC 2, but he's been accumulating some strong results. He was second in race 1 at Zwartkop's last time out in the championship. So building momentum off the road. Michael Van Rooyen, that's a good way to throw momentum away. The Rustenburg rocket runs wide. Matt Hodges takes the opportunity to dive up the inside. Gets himself another position. Moves himself to 5th. Goes chasing his teammate, who's looking to fight for a step on the podium perhaps with Simon Moss, who locks the brake again. So with a flat spot on that tyre now, every time he goes to the brake pedal, it's going to want to go back to that flat spot and lock again. Big slide through there for Daniel Rowe, the car right on the rugged edge of performance. But he grabs the spot away, and now Hodges going around the outside of Simon Moss, and Van Rooyen's on the inside. He wants his spot back. Wasn't happy about the mistake just half a lap ago. The Rustenburg rocket back up the inside and retakes the position. Feisty battling this. And let's do it again. Down the inside into the final corner at turn 13. Matt Hodges leaves no racing room. And Van Rooyen surrenders one spot and then another to Johan Ferree. He might find himself getting 2 here. Look at the EPS Courier's car go. Perhaps on the push to pass. horsepower boost that they're allowed to use throughout the race to give them some extra performance. And Ferree gets a couple of spots. He's now in behind Simon Moss. So this is a feisty battle pack. And Ferree still has to defend from Matt Hodges, who will be thoroughly enjoying this after what's been an unthoroughly enjoyable season. Down to Sunset, side by side, a lot of commitment required to hang around the outside here. It's dirty offline. There's a lot of on-track activity here at the Festival of Motoring. A lot of rubber being laid down on the surface. Hodges has done a superb job through there. Held his line on the outside. It worked brilliantly when they went through Clubhouse. Ferree gets a little bit of a bump for his troubles, and MVR goes through. Good racing. That's a look back at GTC 2. Status quo remains the Volkswagens 1-2. Cool new livery on Charles Smallberger's car. It's great to see the privateer picking up some support as his season goes on. It's one of the most brightly liveried cars in the GTC paddock now. Saw Devon Robinson there. A couple of race wins to his credit this year. 2 of them, in fact. He's been on the podium in 8 races this season of the 12 we've had so far. So that consistency for the Polo Cup graduate has been impressive to watch. That's why he's in contention for the championship. Gee, Adrian Wood a long way wide on the exit of Cheetah Corner. It's turn 12. It's actually tighter than it looks on a track map, that corner. It's a strange one. They use a lot of curb on the inside there to get the car rotated, and then the change of direction at turn 13. So this battle for GTC 2, just in a holding pattern at the moment. We often see that in these races where the middle stanza of a race, they settle down, look after their Dunlop Control slick tyres, and then start attacking when they know they've got good tyre left at the end of the race. Keagan's form has been irrepressible this season. That's why he leads the championship. It's been his qualifying pace that has been most destructive. The way he's able to work his way through and win the reverse grid races. He won the reverse grid races at Killarney at round 2, at Svartkops at round 3, at East London at round 4. Do you get a theme here? And he did it the last time we raced at Svartkops again. Doing a Michael Stephen. That's how he won the championship last year, by scything his way through the field. Let's go back to the front of the field. Here's Sasol GTC. Bonafede with a good margin over Michael Stephen. So whatever the VM Innovations team, headed up by Vic Maharaj, whatever they did, that car was amazing in the opening laps, and Bonafede was able to get to the front. Didn't qualify overly well, knew they needed race pace early, so perhaps they set their tyre pressures a little bit higher. The car came on earlier in the race. He raced his way to the front, and then he's built the margin. Daniel Rowe just continuing to apply a little bit of pressure here to the reigning champion. 2 laps to go at Kyalami. We're at the Festival of Motoring. It's round 7 of the Sasol GTC Championship. In just a couple of weeks' time, we're down at Killarney again in Cape Town. An amazing little racetrack, which is going to be a critical point in this series. You want to take momentum going into the final couple of rounds. So Bonafede's cleared out. This is that feisty scrap we saw for the minors. Johan Ferree's dropped behind Michael Van Rooyen. So the 2 independently run BMWs. Privateer entries punching on with the factory cars. Simon Moss is in front. Strangely off song, it seems, this weekend, Simon. Missed out the front row for just the 2nd time this year in qualifying, and it's been his 1 lap pace where Simon has been so very good. Qualified on pole here earlier this year and had a race win. So Kyalami clicked early on. Whatever reason, it hasn't clicked this weekend for the man from Port Elizabeth. It's all clicked for Gennaro Bonafede though. This has been an imperious drive, and it's one he needed. A terrific victory last time out at Svartkops in race 2. He was 2nd in race 1 there. He's applying the pressure, and where last year his championship ran off the rails in the middle of the season with a string of bad luck and a couple of DNFs, this year they've kept the pressure on the man we ride on board with. Unrelenting pressure is what is required to beat Michael Stephen, who is the absolute best in the business at winning championships in the whole of South African motorsport at the moment. In this fiercely competitive series, he just keeps accumulating. And if anything, he's getting better as the year goes on, and that's a massive worry for everyone else. Daniel Rowe's not done yet here as we work our way through the final lap. They're heading up to Barbecue now at turn 4 and the run along the back straight to turn 5 at Sunset. Bonafede with a handy margin. What's Daniel Rowe got? Has he got a move perhaps? Well, Port Elizabeth-based teams and drivers ride with the Volkswagen driver. His car's got good mid-corner speed at the moment. Just pulling in margin on Michael Stephen. So Bonafede's just got half a lap to go now to bring this car home and record what will be an enormous race victory in the context of the championship. He's had 3 wins already this year. Can he bring it home and make it 4? What about the final step on the podium? Daniel Rowe, this has been his best race 1 performance of the entire season so far. It all clicked when he changed numbers. Went back to his old karting number, Daniel Rowe, after a string of bad luck at the start of the season. And it's all fired up, the Volkswagen team, well and truly on song. Out of Crocodiles goes Gennaro Bonafede. No, Bonafede's blown up. He's gone from the race lead. A trail of smoke from the Sasol BMW within sight of the checkered flag. It's a disaster for the championship contender. It's joy for Michael Stephen. Under pressure from Daniel Rowe. A victory from nowhere. Michael Stephen handed race 1. Extraordinary scenes at Kyalami. And Gennaro Bonafede will sit on the side of the road and wonder what he has to do to get a bit more luck and to bring a championship home. That will be a massive blow. Here's Keagan Masters. It's a solid 1-2 for the Volkswagens in GTC2. Never really looked troubled in this race, Keagan Masters. Though I hesitate to say that based on what went on early on. And Adrian Wood, as I say that, is just going to have a cheeky little look up the inside. But there'll be waved yellow flags in this area of the racetrack because there will be a forlorn sight of Gennaro Bonafede watching from the side of the road. It'll be green now. You can see the green flag in the background. Is there a last dive, a last attempt against his teammate? There isn't. Adrian Wood's not close enough. Keagan Masters gets another victory. It's his 8th of the season from 13 races. The champion continues onwards. Charles Smallberger on the podium, 3rd place. Well done. Great drive from the privateer runner and Devon Robinson from the back of the field. Finishes 4th and grabs some valuable championship points. So let's have a listen. Well, that shut down pretty quickly, didn't it? No real warning. And the young man from Joburg. And his body language says it all. Bonafede out within 2 corners of winning for the 4th time this year. And it gets handed, of all people, to his arch rival Michael Stephen. And he celebrates with his teammate Simon Moss, who ended up having a solid result after a pretty quiet day. I don't think this team can believe what's gone on. So Moss on the podium in 3rd, Van Rooyen, 4th place. All that fighting early on did the trick for the Rustenburg Rocket. Johan Ferree 5th, Robert Walt 6th, and Matt Hodges. Bonafede, a big DNF. Keagan Masters leads home a Volkswagen 1-2 in GTC2 with Smallberger, Robertson and Bland rounding out the top 5. Here's your winner, chatting to Philippa.
Michael Stephen, winner in race 1. I don't think we've ever seen you so animated in the car after you've actually had a victory. Well done.
Yeah, qualifying went well, put on pole and converted that into a race win. A little bit fortunate at the end of the race. Gennaro had good pace in the beginning and managed to get away. And unfortunately, motorsport's cruel sometimes. And he drove a brilliant race, but I got to the checkered flag first. So, we'll take it either way. We were a bit unlucky at the beginning of the year, but yeah, one of those things and points in the bag.
Yeah, we got a bit lucky with Gennaro obviously going off on the last lap. I think it was the 3rd last corner or something. But yeah, great race. The starts were clean, it's awesome. Simon and I had a tussle in the beginning, just chuffed, I got good points.
Keagan Masters, winner in GTC2. It's always best to lead from the front, but your teammate has really been applying pressure the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, he was coming for me. He nearly had me on the last corner though, but he went into ABS, so he couldn't get me. But it was a tough race. Kept me honest the whole way. But the cars are identical and the team did a brilliant job with these cars. So we'll see about race 2, see what we can do.
So while there's celebrations in Parc Fermé after that one, there's disappointment for Gennaro Bonafede. His first DNF of the season. It may be a critical one in this championship race. Philippa has found a very disappointed Sasol BMW driver.
Gennaro, Bonafede, I don't think anyone knows really what to say after what's happened. Great start, just not a great finish.
Yeah, look, absolutely devastating. You know, we knew after qualifying we had great race pace and had a great start behind Michael the whole first lap. I really felt we knew we had the pace, and yeah, 2 corners from the end. I felt the engine tightening up about 2 laps to go, so I felt it tightening, and I thought, oh, maybe we can get to the end. Hopefully we can just make it through, but yeah, we can still consolidate and we can still get some good points and hopefully go out tomorrow and win by a country mile, hopefully.
It's good that you do have time to be able to replace that engine in time for tomorrow, so good luck then.
Thank you, yeah. The team will be working hard.
So a win for Michael Stephen, exactly what he needed in the championship, and a crushing 1-2 for Volkswagen in GTC2. What happens when we reverse the grid? That race is coming your way soon.
Hi guys, it's Simon Moss here. We're really enjoying the Festival of Motoring this weekend and we want to have some fun, and I would like you to come and join me for a little bit. Let's go. Here's target number 1. He's going to get his pop idols on. Hey Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind.
Hey Mickey.
So how's your day going?
Terrible.
Wow, what happened?
Yeah, well, I was smoking your oaks by about 4 seconds and then my engine blew.
We were just thinking while we were looking at all these pictures, how do you manage to break so many motors? Is it got anything to do with you getting married soon? No, don't get it.
They say the more rings, the more compression.
And the bowl last year, did you have a little kiss on the curb? Or?
Yeah, okay, I spun in the bowl last time, I was also leading, okay.
All right, and when did you run out of petrol? Was it also in the bowl? So obviously you and the bowl don't have a good past.
I feel like it's a soup bowl.
How's it, Michael? Is that your wife on the phone?
That's her on the phone. You want to say hi to her?
I would just like to find out, how do you operate so smoothly with the Dunlop umbrella girls? What is the trick?
Which are Dunlop umbrella girls?
You know which one? The one with the... You can't hang up now.
Which are Dunlop umbrella girls?
I've got to go and find Robbie. I've got something special lined up for him. Come have a seat here, Robs. We bought this golf cart specially for you, for the reverse grid. Do you think this will handle a bit better and perform a bit better than your car in the first race?
This change of direction might be a bit better. I mean, it's about as top heavy as my car was. So.
No, perfect. Let's hope that it slows you down a bit and we can get past you quite easily.
Hopefully not too soon, but push the pass might come in effect.
I'm sure it'll be a good race though. Keep an eye on it.
Well, it looks like Robbie Walt's taken Simon Moss's advice. I'm a bit worried at the moment. It looks like he might put me out of a job in the TV business as well. He's a natural with the microphone. Good times down in the paddock amongst a great crowd here at the Festival of Motoring at Kyalami. We're thoroughly enjoying it as part of the Sasol GTC Championship. We're going to put on a show for them now because we've reversed the grid. We're going racing in race number 2. Bonafede and Walk, the Sasol BMW pair off the front row. Johan Ferré and Michael Van Rooyen next. Then it's Matt Hodges and Simon Moss from the third row, with Daniel Rowe and Michael Stephen going from the back of the field. So in every cloud there is a silver lining. Bonafede gets a pole after a DNF in race 1. Bradley Liebenberg and Bob Neal are on the front for GTC2. Then it's Paul Hill and Trevor Bland, Devon Robinson and Charles Smallberger next. We then go back to Adrian Wood and Keagan Masters. Can he do it again from the back of the field? My guess right now is based on previous form, yes, but let's wait and see. So here we go. The 2 BMWs, that's a nice sight for VM Innovations, who looks after those 2 cars, and indeed the EPS Couriers car of Johan Ferré, who sits just in behind them. In fact, it's a BMW lockout of the first 2 rows here at Kyalami. Away we go, Sasol GTC reverse grid style. Racing again, here's the spread. It's famous through the kink at turn 1 and down to Crowthorne corner. Bonafede protecting his line. Simon Moss sweeps from the inside to the out. Michael Van Rooyen sweeps the wrong way and gets turned around. A little bit of contact, just unloaded the Rustenburg rocket. He's now pointing in the wrong direction. Johan Ferré's got in front of Robbie Walk, so he's second. BMW still 1, 2 and 3. Matt Hodges 4th. Daniel Rowe 5th. Then the 2 NGen Audis. So that was really busy. We'll need to dissect what went on down at turn 2. We'll come back to that when everyone's sorted themselves out. Just a little bit of harmless wheel-to-wheel contact, I think. harmless if you're everyone except Michael Van Rooyen. That was busy. Hodges passed by his teammate Rowe, who just gives a proper touring car style bump to the back of Robbie Walk, whose golf cart's going very nicely in this race in third and looks to work his way past. And a big slide again, Daniel Rowe, massive slide. He's in strife, he's in real trouble. Can he catch this? It'll be the save of the year if he does. No, he hasn't. That's enormous. That is a very big crash. And there might be some collateral damage in there. I think I saw one of the GTC 2 cars clip some debris as he passed through. Wow. Double waved yellow flags. Oh, and it was Keagan Masters. So his teammate in the factory Volkswagen squad has caught some debris, and there's a brake rotor and upright assembly just strewn by the side. So let's ride with Daniel Rowe. Has one big slide, then another. Drops him off the road. Well, I was just listening to that. He did not take his foot off the throttle. He thought he could drag it back. Unfortunately, the dust and debris on the outside of the road here at Kyalami caught him out. Oh, and that's an enormous hit. So Keagan Masters has collected the front upright and brake disc assembly from the damaged car of Daniel Rowe, and that's torn the front corner out of the Volkswagen Golf GTI. So what was a brilliant race one for the factory Volkswagen team has turned on its head in race 2. That's how quickly things can change in the Sasol GTC Championship. So we reset and we do it all again. Now, one full lap was not completed, so it means we'll still have a full 10-lap race distance in a restart. And Daniel Rowe will be watching from the sidelines. He was absolutely a contender in this. And here we go again. Robert Walk, who got the short back and sides in the opening couple of corners, gets to do it again from P number 2. Here we go. Bonafede defends. Free next. Walk looking down the inside. Van Rooyen hoping to get away with it this time. So he's got a massive free kick here in that he got turned around at turn 2 in take 1 of this race, but because it's been a full restart, he got that position back. So there was absolutely nothing in it in the end, and it's worked out brilliantly for the Rustenburg Rocket. Minis first and third in GTC 2. Looks like a Trevor Bland splitting them at the moment. Down the hill into Sunset they go. 10 laps the distance. Reverse grid racing at Kyalami. N-Gen Audis fighting for position. Simon Moss fighting to keep the car pointing in the right direction. Hairy moment going down the hill through Sunset towards Clubhouse. Ironically, he's actually going to get a spot here, and Robert Walks dropped like a stone and has just been hit for his efforts. And forced out wide and loses some more spots. So after going from the front, this has not worked out well for car number 41, a graduate from open wheel racing here in South Africa. And off the road again, Simon Moss. The cold tyre pace of those N-Gen Audis hasn't been, it's fair to say, spectacular this weekend. Michael Stephen got gobbled up by Bonafede in the opening laps of the opening race, and they're just sort of holding station at the back of the Sasol GTC pack here in race 2, waiting for things to come their way. Bonafede out in front. We're desperate for revenge. Big night for the Sasol BMW team, changing an engine in that car overnight after a failure in that race yesterday within sight of the checkered flag. No shortage of straight line performance past the start finish line here at Kyalami. That long wide run through the kink and down to Crowthorne Corner, most famous bits of racing tarmac in South African motorsport. So Bonafede, he's got, let's say, 5 car lengths over Johan Faree, who's got about the same over Michael Van Rooyen, who's looking to get on the podium. There's Matt Hodges. He'd love a podium. Now, Hodges finished 4th on the road in race 1. Unfortunately, he was penalised post-race for overutilisation of the push-to-pass facility in these cars. He broke the rules. He was penalised for that, so he was relegated further down the field. Now, of the Sasol GTC pack, he's the only driver yet to get a trophy this year. He'd love nothing more than to get a podium. Here's the fight for the lead in GTC 2. Much more feisty than it was in race 1. And Bradley Liebenberg is coming under all kinds of pressure from Trevor Bland. Dubbed him Mr. Excitement last year. Hasn't got the race wins we've been looking for from Trevor this season. Qualified 4th on 2 occasions. He's been 2nd twice. Yet to win in season 2018. Right now, he's got to battle some minis to try and do it this weekend at Kyalami. Up the hill they go. Bonafede driving this car so hard, you sort of feel like he's got nothing to lose now. Yes, he's got to score championship points as Hodges goes down the inside of Van Rooyen. So that's third place. He's been looking for that. Away he goes. 2 Audis just running line astern. Van Rooyen with a great run though out of the final corner. With Hodges being delayed going up the inside, he didn't get great drive coming out of that corner. Van Rooyen got a really good run out, was able to go wheel to wheel with the 57 Volkswagen. The run down into turn 2, but couldn't pull the move off. So Matt Hodges now elevates himself further up. Let's go down to Philippa. She's found Daniel Rowe.
Richie, I'm down here with Daniel in the paddock. Firstly, Daniel, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. All good. That was a fairly big impact, but I'm good.
Talk us through what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, the guys were tussling in the first corner. I had a plan to just stay patient, see what happens. But yeah, they had tussled. I got through quite soon. Matt ran wide into Sunset, so I got through on him as well. So I think I was up to 4th by Sunset. And then I tried to attack Robbie. On the second part of the S going up the hill, I tried to fall in behind him, but I was just offline. So I lost the rear and then went off the circuit. And then, yeah, I was trying to get back on, and as I came back on, it just shot me that sideways again. So,
All right, glad you're okay.
Thank you.
That's Daniel Rowe chatting to Philippa in pit lane. Extremely disappointed, as you would understand. Meanwhile, there's an enormous fight going on for GTC2. So while we were hearing from Daniel Rowe, Trevor Bland went down the inside. So that's at Barbecue at turn 4. Correction, Clubhouse it was. So a little bit further around the racetrack, turn 6. Then through the SSO, he ran wide, and Devon Robinson went through, and so did Bradley Liebenberg. So he led very briefly, did Trevor Bland. Unfortunately got gobbled up, and the 2 minis now run line astern in the lead of the race. Adrian Wood, the Kia Sarah entry, following them in 4th. There's Charles Smallberger, he's running 5th. These 2 guys are at it once again. Michael Stephen now looking down the inside of Simon Moss, who does not give any room, as you would expect, between these 2 good mates, their teammates, and Michael Stephen's been something of a mentor to his young mate. He'll be mentoring about staying on the bitumen. Yeah, hands in the air, Simon. That was just an error. He ran wide there and surrendered the position. So Michael Stephen, the first one to take a spot when it's gifted to him like that. So he now moves forward. And let's see if these cars start building pace and working their way towards the front as this race goes on. We're working our way towards half race distance. Gennaro Bonafede still leads the way in the Sasol BMW. The big man from Cape Town in 2nd place. That's Johan Faree. Then we go back to Matt Hodges, who runs in 3rd, trying to get his first podium of the season. Now it's Michael Van Rooyen under pressure from the Terry Moss Racing Audis. Let's ride with Stephen. Flat out, up to 6th gear. 240 plus kilometres an hour before the big stop. 80 kilometres an hour at the apex of turn 2 at Crowthorne's corner. Then back on the power, the road rises up the hill, the natural elevation here at Kyalami. Sweep the car through the sweep at 3, then into Barbecue at 4. Critical corner, sets your run up to turn 5. Down here at Sunset, and once again the 2 Engine Audis are wheel to wheel. Fighting over the minor positions between themselves isn't going to help their cause in attacking Michael Van Rooyen. Moss unable to work his way past, and car number 1 continues to hold on in front. So we said in race 1 he was gifted a victory, and he was, because the leader DNF'd within sight of the checkered flag, but that unrelenting pressure from Michael Stephen that we talk about all the time, he was there, he was in the right position. And talk about when you're building a championship, if you can't win, you finish 2nd, you just get the points. That's what Stephen was thinking about. Unfortunately for Bonafede, his engine let go, and Stephen was in exactly the right position to capitalise. Van Rooyen looks up for the fight here though. Rustenburg Rocket, a couple of podiums this season in car 95. He was 3rd in round 5 of the championship. and also at round 4. So he's been on the podium a couple of times. He's qualified on the second row once as well at the start of the year. Actually, correcting it, it's twice, I should say. Round 5, he was third on the grid. So the pace has come to the Rustenburg Rocket this year. It's been a massive improvement. That first win, you feel, isn't too far away. Who knows, maybe Kalani at Cape Town might be the object of the Rustenburg Rockets' affection when we get down there in a couple of weeks' time. So the leaders just with their own racetrack at the moment. All the interest now sits over this fight for 4th. There's 5th, and 6th just in behind in Simon Moss. Managing the Dunlop tyres off the road. Simon Moss, another hairy moment going through Sunset. It's lucky there's a lot of bitumen runoff in the exit of that corner. Very generous with the runoff here at Kyalami. One of the safest racetracks around. It's built to FIA Grade 2 standards. It can host anything up to Formula 1. Terrific racetrack. And in occasions like that, it works for the driver. When you make a little error, you run off the designated racing surface, you get given a life, basically, because it won't spit your car off into the road. Daniel Rowe would probably disagree with me right about now, but for Simon Moss, it worked perfectly on that occasion. I love that corner down the mine shaft. It's iconic. It's almost flat. It's one of those corners where you take your brave pills before you turn the car in, flow the car through, and just the slightest lift of throttle mid-corner at turn 10, and then you brake the car for the Crocodiles at turn 11 a little bit further on down the hill. That's where these guys are heading now. This is the fight for GTC2. We ride on board with Trevor Bland. Looking to notch up another podium this year. These two looking to fight it out for what is 2nd and 3rd in the championship at the moment. They've closed that margin in on Keagan Masters. They will after this race, especially because the championship leader will be a DNF. 0 points for the leading Volkswagen, and right now the Minis left to fight it out amongst themselves. They came into the weekend tied on points. This very successful racing team who's built a really good program out of these two cars, and they're now legitimate contenders. Really hard competitive racing this season, and a critical junction in the championship now as well. The guy second in points is Gennaro Bonafede. Lap 8 of 10. That's a look back to Michael Van Rooyen. He's got Michael Stephen just in behind, but doing a very fine job of holding out the defending champion. Big margin back to the battle for 4th and 5th place. Another pole position earlier in the weekend for Michael Stephen. He's been racking them up this season. 4 of them now from the 7 rounds. Thanks to Dunlop accruing a nice end of season party bonus as well. They're tipping in some rand for pole in both Sasol GTC and the GTC2 Championship. Big moment again. Simon Moss runs wide. It's sunset for any hope of a podium finish for car number 38, with the most casual of spins just on the outside of that corner. Got through the corner all right. It was on the exit there that the rear broke away in the N-Gen Audi. And at turn 5, Simon Moss lost some spots. Back to this fight for the lead in GTC2. Bradley Liebenberg holding on under great pressure from his teammate. Brad was a winner at Port Elizabeth in round 5 of the championship. That was his last victory. Won a couple of times this season. He won at Zwartkop's round 3 earlier on this season, and of course opened his account nicely round 1 in the championship at this very venue. In fact, he won the reverse grid race at round 1 of the championship here at Kyalami. So he's got priors here. He's going to have to defeat his teammate to do it, because Devon Robinson is looking fired up and in really good touch at the moment. Bouncing back, this team, after a really disappointing issue in qualifying. Their cars were going into limp home mode. It's one of the dramas with modern motor racing, isn't it? Especially production-based racing like the GTC2 category is. There's so many electronics in modern cars to look after all of the various systems. Now, you don't use most of them when you go motor racing, but they're still there. They're in the car. And sometimes it throws its hands in the air and goes, no, I don't actually like the abuse you're giving me on the racetrack. And it shuts the car down. The good teams can work around it. That's what this outfit's done. Now, I refuse to say anything about this man leading this race, aside from the fact that he's got a nice margin over P2, because he got within a few corners from home. Right there, in fact, and it all came undone. His world exploded in race 1. So he's about to commence his final lap. They're just working their way through Bob Neal in the little Ford Fiesta in GTC 2. Matt Hodges does the job and goes through. He still runs third. He's 4.5 Ks away from his first podium finish of the year. Wouldn't that be a great result? Oh, and Michael Van Rooyen was in the box seat for a really strong haul of points here. Well, he's not even going to get home. Does the right thing, pulls to the side of the road. His day is done. So Bonafede, Faree, Hodges next. Then we go back to Michael Stephen, who's had an uncharacteristically quiet day. And this all works for Gennaro Bonafede. When we look big picture, we look to the championship, this will work really well for the driver of car number 32, because he's got 2 drivers in between himself and his nearest championship rival, taking points away from Michael Stephen. I can't imagine what the tension is like down in the Sasol BMW pit. They'd have everything crossed that car 32 can hold on. He's 2 Ks away from home. Man from Johannesburg. He's a busy boy, very active on social media, still getting around to nightclubs, DJing his way around South Africa very successfully, but his focus is on winning a championship. For Robert Walk, massive disappointment means he won't get to the checkered flag. He's going to have to walk back. And a forlorn ending for car number 41 after a strange race that started with him running P2. Not so strange for Gennaro Bonafede. He's won before. He loves Kyalami. And where race 1 ended in disaster, this has been a fantastic turnaround. Gennaro Bonafede can celebrate. He wins at the Festival of Motoring and gets his championship back on track. Well driven. Back now to GTC 2. Now there's been some change here. Devon Robertson was right up behind his teammate, no longer, split by a couple of Volkswagens. Adrian Wood's gone through. Bradley Liebenberg now out in front, and Charles Smallberger applying the pressure. Here's what happened. So this is coming on to the start-finish straight. Oh, and he's not pleased. He was really disappointed with that. Well, the car hesitated, and it's cost him several positions. So that's the margin now. Smoke coming from Trevor Bland's car. It won't slow him down. Don't worry about that. Or will it? Off the road he goes. Oh, no. Keep it out of the fence, Trevor. He was on for P2. He might drop off the podium now. I've got to stop calling cars home before they get to the checkered flag. Bradley Liebenberg will hope the curse of the commentator doesn't come down on car number 12. Few corners to go in what will be a pretty critical championship race. So for the contenders, this has been an enormous day. For the championship leaders, it's been a really tough one. Bonafede wins in GTC. In GTC 2, Bradley Liebenberg repeats what he did at round 1, wins the reverse grid GTC 2 race back at Kyalami. That's a big win. So Bonafede, Faree second, Matt Hodges finally on the podium. Every driver will now get a trophy this season. That's an enormous result. Boy, Gennaro's pleased. What a great result. And there's Liebenberg. Huge win for the Mini driver. His 4th of the season. Celebrations on the racetrack, celebrations above as well. It's all going on here at the Festival of Motoring, the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. An aerial salute to our winners in the Sasol GTC Championship. And there's the margin. Stephen just extends slightly to Bonafede. Moss in 3rd, very much in contention. And don't count out Johan Faree or Daniel Rowe or even Michael Van Rooyen. They're still in the mix. And this is really exciting. Masters still leads GTC 2, but the Minis are coming. Robinson and Liebenberg 2nd and 3rd, very much still in the fight.
Gennaro Bonafede, after the bad luck that you had yesterday, you really needed that change in fortune today.
Yeah, super pumped. I mean, look, we had a good race pace the whole weekend. You know, the car was absolutely phenomenal. I was feeling really great around Kyalami. I love this track. For me, it's a rhythm track. You know, you get into it and you do lap after lap and you don't feel like you've even driven. So yeah, I'm really happy. Obviously, it made my life a little bit easier. We started from pole, but yeah, the team, thanks to the team really for changing the engine overnight. Yeah, a big thanks to Michael Van Rooyen as well to let me use his engine. So we have a bit of a BMW thing going on, which is nice. So yeah, look, Kyalami next, Cape Town, looking really forward to it. We've historically also been quite strong there, so hopefully we can get some more points there.
Yeah, we can't wait. We'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that next round is all critical. We head to Kyalami International Raceway in Cape Town on September 21-22. Don't miss out on that. Or our grand finale in October. We head to Zwartkops Raceway. It's going to be a huge end to the year. Until then, it's goodbye from Kyalami.